This week in Women in Sports, March means basketball playoffs. We have the latest on the top high school teams in the state, some of which are making historic repeat title wins. And the Gophers women's basketball team makes their first NCAA tournament run in nearly a decade, coming in as the 4th seed in their region, how they plan to make a splash while dancing. Finally, long-awaited news. A WNBA season will be happening. A verbal deal between the league and the players' union was made with historic pay raises. What we know about the new contract coming up.
WCCO's Women in Sports, sponsored by Franson Bank and Trust.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Marielle Mohs, and here at WCCO, we are celebrating the highlights of female athletes in this digital segment called Women in Sports. We'll share news stories with you every week right here as we do our part to give these athletes the recognition they deserve. Well, first up, it's March, which means we're talking lots of basketball. The tournament that decides the best high school teams in the state is what we're going to focus on first. This season, one team going for a 4-peat, another team going for a 5-peat, and we start with the big school class where one team was going for the simple back-to-back championship. That was what Hopkins was looking for, title number 10 facing Rosemount. The Royals led most of the second half, but here come the young and talented Irish draining a three-pointer to tie it at 60 with 4 minutes left. Hopkins couldn't score, so Rosemount wins this one 63-62. Chris Orr coaches the Irish to their first ever girls basketball state title, an epic finish to an epic game. And it was also a highly anticipated matchup in 3A with Stewartville facing Benilde St. Margaret's. Tigers kept the board to a one-possession deficit, but the Red Knights pushed the pace to great success. In the end, Benilde wins it 75-63, avenging an earlier loss to Stewartville in the season. They now have 4 straight state titles. Now to the game a lot of people had their eyes on, Providence Academy versus Duluth Marshall. The Hilltoppers' Chloe Johnson is one of the best sophomores in the country, but this game belonged to the Academy. Madden Greenway, the state's all-time leading scorer, had a lot to do with that. The Lions win their record 5th straight state title with a final score of 95-60. And the small school championship game was the only one without a potential streak on the line. It was Mountain Iron Buell facing Sleepy Eye St. Mary's. Sleepy Eye got out to an early lead, but Mountain Iron cut it with a big surge. The Knights answered though. Sleepy Eye St. Mary's wins this one 80-63. This marked their first ever state title as well. Now to college ball, where it's the season of Cinderellas. Minnesota Duluth's women's team, an 8th seed, pulled off 2 upsets and faced the number 2 seed last week. It was a local game facing Concordia University St. Paul. The two played at Taylor Center in Mankato, and the pair rallied to send it into overtime and then double overtime. Duluth hit 2 big threes to win it. The final score 94-87. The Bulldogs have officially punched their ticket to the Division II NCAA Elite 8. Congrats to them.
All right, let's go to the 4 seed. Minnesota, the Golden Gophers, their 11th NCAA tournament appearance, their first, though, since 2018. It's been a minute.
It sure has been a minute. That was the moment the Gopher women's basketball team found out they're going to be dancing this March Madness. They play Green Bay in the first round on Friday at home. Minnesota enters with a 22-8 record, while Green Bay is 25-8. The two teams previously met in the 2018 NCAA tournament, where Minnesota won 89-77. The Gopher women's basketball team is admittedly short on NCAA experience, but they earned a gift with the home court advantage. They'll have to lean a little on their head coach to understand the March Madness. Dawn Plitzowite led West Virginia to the tournament before moving to Minnesota 3 years ago. Her assessment going in?
Well, I think ultimately you have to do what you do, and your team can't change just because they're really excited to be in the tournament, our case now excited to host the tournament. You have to get back to being true to yourself, and for us, being disciplined and being a team that gets after it is something that we have to get back to doing.
The tournament is obviously a big deal, but especially for people like Tori McKinney, who of the Gophers, who is a WNBA prospect. She says she's got her eyes fixed on the tournament prize.
Change for us, but it's just like, it's just a lot more, but hopefully it won't get to us and it'll just be like every other game day, but it's just incredible.
So if you're shelling out cash to bet on March Madness, don't put down too much. The NCAA says getting all 63 game brackets correct is almost impossible. You have a chance of 1 in 9 quintillion. If you know your basketball, your chances increase to 1 in 120 billion. The American Gaming Association estimates Americans will legally wager $3.3 billion this year, up from previous years. So happy bracketing. One of this year's key players for the Gophers is Amaya Battle. She's a star point guard for not only the team, but the league. The Battle siblings grew up in Minnesota and, of course, on the basketball court. The older brother now plays in the NBA. One thing's for sure, the Battles are there for each other and, of course, with an assist from their dad. Our Mike Max has more.
He said his game was probably more similar to mine.
Amaya Battle is ready to lead the Gophers to an NCAA tournament. Her brother Jamison is in his second season with the Toronto Raptors. They go back a bit.
Yeah, we'd grow up, we'd go to the gym. Over COVID, we would go to like the parks. We ran a hill together. That kind of sucked, but you got to stay in shape somehow.
Jamison understands much. He played for 3 different colleges, including the Gophers and Ohio State.
The different experiences you get, the people you meet, the coaches you have, being able to adjust and adapt on the fly at different colleges is something that I feel like I've learned, and I think it's helped prepare me for this level.
So when Amaya was making her decision on college, she was there to help.
Just someone I can look up to. I remember in high school, like going through the recruiting process, being able to kind of like ask him and understand, like, because there's a big picture of what you want to know when you go to college.
He watches her, she watches him. He even compares their games.
Just to play her game and just to play hard, and that's what she does. I mean, she's an unbelievable point guard. She defends. I think that's something that she has on me. She's a great defender, but I know I have the shooting over her.
Oh, yeah. Their father, Terrell, was a college player as well. And his coaching and influence is not lost on either.
You know, he was more like, or I guess mine's more similar to his, like getting to the hoop, passing, midi. I think my mid-range is better. My brother got the shooting because my dad couldn't really shoot.
And for older brother, watching her make it to the NCAA tournament has meaning and pride.
It's just super cool to see, just because, you know, I never got to play an NCAA tournament, and seeing her and her team be able to make it this year is something that's super cool, and you know, I'm gonna live through her.
And for sister to have older brother playing with the elite of the elite, it's pretty cool that brother in the NBA, huh?
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's as good as it gets for him, right?
Literally, I remember Maya Najee, my teammate. Actually, I don't know if her brother was in the NBA when we were in high school, but he was working his way up there, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. But and that's like my life now.
Suffice to say, they are proud of their roots and proud of each other.
Stay at home and just to build it up from there is something that's super cool to see, and just for her to represent Minnesota as a state is something that you dream of as a kid.
A major win for the players of the WNBA. Following the most watched season ever, the ladies of the league made their point clear. Pay us what you owe us. The league owners agreed, striking a historic deal. While the final details are still being hammered out, here's what we know so far, according to ESPN. Star players can make a maximum of $1.4 million a year, which is up from $250,000. The minimum salaries also jumping from $66,000 to $300,000. And the average salary will quadruple to $600,000 per year. And speaking of the pros, she's one of the biggest names in basketball, but has never forgotten her hometown roots. See how Paige Bueckers recently gave back to the Minnesota community that raised her.
Tortillas, everybody likes tortillas. We go through a lot of tortillas.
ICA Food Shelf has been busier than ever since the new year.
2 weeks ago, we gave out 400 emergency kits in 1 week. Typically, we were doing about 90 a month prior to Operation Metro Surge.
Emergency kits like these.
Some beans, fresh veggies, canned fruits, pasta.
They're able to keep pushing out these food kits for families, thanks to the generosity of basketball superstar and Hopkins native Paige Bueckers. She donated a $50,000 match gift last month to the Hopkins Education Foundation, who then gave that money to ICA Food Shelf.
All of us know that Paige is really generous and she loves Hopkins schools and our community. So, you know, it was unexpected in the amount, but we knew that she would want to support us.
Hopkins Education Foundation Executive Director Emily Wallace Jackson says at the highest point, 350 students were staying home from school during the immigration crackdown. That's when they launched their Hopkins Strong Relief Fund to help those families out with groceries and rent. And Paige answered the call in a big way.
She continues to remember us. She continues to remember her neighbors. And it's just an incredible way for her to give back and for this community to continue to rally around Paige.
Another way Paige has given back over the years, she opened up a mini ICA food shelf inside West Middle School to help students directly and continues to fund it.
Just keep it coming.
Rent struggles continue to be felt by families, so the work is not over.
Many families are behind by months, and so there's still a lot of need for donations.
Paige's donation created a ripple effect of giving. One of her corporate sponsors, Chegg, which is an online education tutoring tool, donated $50,000 to the Hopkins Strong Relief Fund as well. They also received 1,000 separate donations from all 50 states and 5 countries. The power of Paige. Well, back to the Gophers now, where the women's hockey team made an appearance in the NCAA quarterfinals. They hosted Northeastern, who jumped all over them. They fell behind in the first period 3-0. The Huskies added another in the second as Minnesota had no answer. It was 4-0, a deep hole to climb out of. We saw a burst of life at the end. Abby Murphy, always can count on her, scored twice, giving her 30 goals on the season, but it was not nearly enough. The Gophers lose 4-2. Their season is over. After the loss, the Gopher athletic department made a bold move. They officially fired head coach Brad Frost, likely due to their early exit from the tournament. He did win 4 national championships in his 19-year run as head coach. So who's next for the job? Several names have been floating around, including former Gopher Nadine Muzzerall, who's now at Ohio State with her team in the Frozen Four. Former Gopher great and Olympic gold medal coach Rob Stauber will also likely get a good look. And former Gopher player, assistant coach, and Hall of Famer Natalie Darwitz is a no-brainer for the position. We will, of course, keep you updated when we learn more. And since their shutout loss 2 weeks ago, the Frosts have flipped things around. The team was in Denver to play New York. Minnesota was up 3-0 in the second. The Sirens tried to mount a furious comeback, but the Frosts hang on to this one and win 4-3. The team also recently celebrated a milestone for one of their rookies. Peyton Anderson scored her first career PWHL goal over their win over Seattle.
Super exciting. I think at the locker room, I was sitting next to Jagir in the locker room, and she was like, "You're going to get the puck and you got to shoot it." And so then that first shift was pretty cool to, I don't know, we were just laughing about it on the bench afterwards. But yeah, and then being able to go home and, like Ken said, play in front of family and friends, it's going to be super special. So I'm excited.
The Gopher gymnastics team recently wrapped up their regular season with a quad meet at Maturi Pavilion. And how about this for a start? On the first rotation, the Gophers' Ariana Ostrom, a perfect vault, sticks the landing, scores a perfect 10. The only 10 given out that day, in fact. And Jordan Leiden had a big day too, a stellar performance on the bars, another stick, earns a 9.95. She won this event and beam. The Gophers swept all 4 rotations and win the meet by 1.4 points. Congrats to them. If you know about dance here in Minnesota, you've likely heard of Larkin Dance Studio. It's in Maplewood, and it's known for training some seriously talented dancers. Plus, we all, of course, know the University of Minnesota dance team dominates year after year at the national championships. So dancers from both of these programs are bound to go off and do great things like this. Mommy, what's up? Do you see some familiar faces in there? Kira Redpath, an alumni of Larkin Dance Studio, had the chance to be featured in this latest ad campaign from Gap, starring Puerto Rico rapper Young Miko. Plus, Ava Wagner, also a Larkin and U of M dance alum, got this special moment to shine in the video as well. WCCO's Women in Sports podcast recently featured Ava and her sister as they shared their story about leaving college dance and heading into the professional world. This job with Gap was Ava's first professional gig. So very cool. Congratulations to both of them. And you don't want to miss this week's new episode of the Women in Sports podcast. I recently caught up with Jennifer Huber and Greta Cito. They're busy right now planning the 2026 KPMG Women's PGA Championship coming to Hazeltine in June. This club and course have quite the reputation here in the Twin Cities.
Hazeltine is just a course that a great championship is made up of. It's a beast. It's long. Distance long. The rough is really long. The greens are really hard and fast. The bunkers are really deep. I mean, it's a tough golf course, and I have to remind myself often when I'm out there playing that and my students too. Hey, they host major championships here. This is a tough course.
And Jennifer knows it. She's a pro at Hazeltine. In this episode, you can find more information on the tournament details, free golf tips, and learn how women are leading the way in growing the game once dominated by men. Catch that conversation wherever you get your podcasts. Well, thanks for watching this week's Women in Sports. I'm Marielle Mohs. We'll be back with more great stories next week.